Welcome to the English Homemaker podcast, a podcast where we discuss all things home. A realistic but fresh view of homemaking from the suburbs of the south of England. I'm your host, Alissa Evelyn. Welcome to episode 30 of the English Homemaker. Hello, everybody. I am so excited for today's episode. It is something I've wanted to talk about for ages, but I realised that today's subject is a little bit Marmite. Some of you will love it, some of you will hate it. And some of you that will hate it probably won't even want to start listening to it. But I want to reassure you, I'm not going to give you style advice or fashion advice. I am in no place to do that. I do not consider myself to be fashionable or stylish, really. I just am obsessed with textiles. I love clothing. I love the feeling of good clothing on my skin. I love when I get to finally, once upon a time, I do actually put together an outfit I really like and I feel amazing in. I get that Cinderella moment. And I guess I want to talk about a variety of things today around it. But yes, I'm not going to tell you what to wear. After all, I really think you can wear whatever it is you want to wear, whatever you like, whatever you feel comfortable in, whatever you feel confident in. And quite frankly, I think clothing, fashion, style is 90% confidence. If you are wearing something, no matter what that is, with confidence, with a smile, with enthusiasm, with a real spirit behind it, and you feel good in it, it doesn't really matter what you're wearing. I genuinely think that the homemaker's conundrum is finding this balance between practicality and beauty and trying to find that balance at a price point that works for you. I think that bit there is where a lot of us stumble, fall, and have issues. I think either we go with something that's really beautiful but isn't very comfortable, or we go with pure comfort and practicality, but then it doesn't really reflect who we are on the inside. And then we feel like to find that is either going to take a lot of time or a lot of money. And so a lot of people don't really bother. And that's totally fair enough. But today I want to talk about how I feel like I've achieved both and at a good price that's still good for the planet. And so I'm doing my homemaking in clothes I feel good in, that I think reflect me, that I feel are very comfortable, but also really pretty and beautiful, and that I really love. So I have called this episode A Revolution in My Wardrobe because something has happened, something has changed, something has shifted this year. So it wasn't a January the 1st revelation. It wasn't a resolution. It was someone in the middle of January. I decided that I would do two things, and it sort of coincided all at the same sort of time. My favorite fashion person to follow on the interwebs is Beth Jones, B Jones Style. I love her. I have watched her for 15 years, maybe more than that, because she had a blog before that I was following. So a long time. And she downloaded this app called Index, which was a kind of cataloguing app where you can catalogue all of your wardrobe and then make outfits, etc. A bit like in Clueless. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then I remembered ages and ages ago that I think I downloaded a really similar app to my phone. And I had. It was called Stylebook. And I basically re-downloaded it to my phone, and having paid for it, it's Stylebook. You pay for it once. I think it's $4.99 or $5.99. Pay for it once and then it's yours. There's no adverts on it at the moment, and it's really easy to use. So I downloaded it onto my phone again and thought, oh, I'll start cataloguing. And then at the same time, I saw this thing on Instagram from someone I don't follow. It just sort of came up on someone's sort of shared things called, I think it's Old Loser in Brooklyn was her handle, and it's the 75 Hard Style Challenge, which I thought was kind of funny because my brother has done the 75 Hard, which is like a fitness challenge for blokes where you drink a lot of water and you work out every day. And I don't know why I'm doing that in a funny accent. So it sort of resonated with me as something interesting. I'm always in the mood for a style challenge because whilst I know what kind of style I have, sort of, I was really struggling this winter with style simply because I really got my summer style down. I know what I like to wear in the summer. I almost have it down to like a uniform kind of thing. But winter I found so much more challenging. So I really wanted to just to do the challenge. So the challenge was to not buy anything new, to take a photo every day, and then kind of, I guess, basically assess your wardrobe. I think there may be another couple of things in there, but those were the main ones. Don't buy anything new, take a photo every single day. So I thought, okay, I will start. I think I got to about day 30 before I failed and I bought something. And that was because I realized I didn't have any jeans that fit. And in the middle of winter, I was surviving on just wool leggings and cotton leggings for like a warm leg situation and cropped jeans. And it was just too cold and windy and just not practical to have no long jeans that fit me. So I decided I would go on a jeans buying mission. Now, you may remember my pants conundrum I had many years ago. I think I spoke about it in one of my other episodes, where I just spent all this time thinking about how to buy pants in a like really ethical, sustainable way. I have since found the most amazing company who make pants in England, and they're perfect, wonderful, really well made, and at price point I can afford. They are Sprout Organic. I will make sure that the link to that is in the show notes in case, like me, you are wondering how you don't buy a multi-pack from M&S or a really cheap set that will just like fall apart and all the elastic will go, or you're looking at like £30 a pair from like quote unquote ethical brands that you're not even sure of. So these amazing pants have gorgeous prints and colours, and they're interesting and fun, and they are made in this country really beautifully and ethically, and I'm obsessed. So if you remember how much I was thinking about pants and how long I spent talking about this, you'll know, one, how complex I believe the whole fashion industry to be, how it is political and challenging and ethically very questionable on so many different levels, and to navigate it I find almost impossible. So when you find something good, I think it's something worth sharing. So with the jeans, I was like, okay, how do I do this? Where do I go? Do I go secondhand? And I thought, I have been looking for jeans I like in secondhand shops for ages and ages. There are always jeans and denim, loads of it, in charity shops and secondhand shops. There's always almost a whole rack dedicated to it in men's and women's, and I could go in and try all of those on and find one that fits, and I would probably spend a day trying things on and maybe find something that worked. But I am almost 6 foot tall, so there's that. It is quite tricky to find jeans that are the right length. Most of my length actually isn't in my leg, it's in my back, but then I don't know, jeans just have to fit you in a way that you appreciate, don't they? And I think also I kind of go against the trend of jeans that fit like really, really tight around your butt and crotch area. I know that's like how most people want jeans to fit, like really tight. I think that does look good, but practically for me, I don't like it. I do not like it. It's not comfortable. I'm going to end up with some kind of infection from how just tight everything is. Sorry if that's TMI. But I'm sure some of you out there will understand. Hopefully, it's not just me. So I went through my wardrobe and thought about, okay, what trousers or jeans do I already have where the waist, crotch, bottom, thigh area fits as I would want it to. And I settled on a pair of these wool trousers that I have from many, many years ago from Next. They're the right length. They're really comfortable to wear. Nothing is chafing or pulling in the wrong areas. And they just fit me really perfectly. So I thought, okay, Next. Let's think about that. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Alissa, Next is not a sustainable brand. It is a high street fast fashion brand. Now, you're not wrong, but fashion, as I said, is really complicated. And one of the things I know to be true is that actually if you buy a piece, well, it's not made in China and it's made of natural fibers, and it's something that you're going to buy that's going to sit in your wardrobe for a good decade, like these pair of wool trousers. I think I probably had bought 15, maybe even 20 years prior. They have washed well and lasted well, and the style has not gone out of style. Then that's a good investment piece, no matter whether it's £30 or £300. So I had a little look on the Next website, and I kind of saved a few of the things I thought were really cute jeans that I wanted to try on, and I ordered a bunch of stuff to my house to try on. And then I ordered from Boden a bunch of stuff to try on. And then I ordered from Marks and Spencer's a bunch of stuff to try on. And I think I ended up trying on about 12 pairs of jeans at home, which at the time felt like exactly the right thing to do with a baby. And just then I could just kind of try them on at my leisure with some of the things already in my wardrobe. And I would feel like I was making a really good decision. Now, out of that, I found 2 pairs of jeans, one brown wide leg, really stiff, lovely, yummy denim, and then another pair of wide leg with like a tie waist that are kind of like a really classic blue wash. Now, both of these pairs were from Next, so I thought, okay, I've found 2 beautiful wide leg pairs of trousers, but I would really like a pair of jeans that are also like a nice sort of straight leg, not tapered in any way, but literally straight down. And again, I had a little look on the website, but it wasn't very clear which length I was going to need. And there was the beautiful brown wide legs I wanted to try on in a different length as well, just to be absolutely sure. I think one of the things we do with clothes, that is one of the things that I've definitely seen in my wardrobe, is that we find something that we like, but it's not totally perfect, but we still buy it. We feel some obligation to buy it perhaps, or it's too difficult to return. And I've just seen that so many times happen over and over again in my wardrobe, that I've kind of like stepped back from perfection and paid the money for it, and then not worn it nearly as much as I should have, because what I really should have done is waited for the exact right length, the exact right waist size, and ordered in. So I was good. I went back into the store. Well, I didn't go back into the store. I went into the store. I tried on some different styles. I ordered in some more sizes that they didn't have on the rack. And then I waited. And then another week later, I tried them on. And eventually, I have ended up with 3 pairs of jeans, 1 straight leg, 1 wide, and 1 coloured pair of jeans. And those, I hope, will do me for the next 10 years. I've got 2 belts. I've got 1 black leather belt and 1 brown leather belt that I've had for, again, like probably 10 to 15 years, and they still work. They're still beautiful, really just very basic, and I really love them. And that is the long story of my jeans. I did try on some barrel legs just out of curiosity, because they are like super fashionable, but I'm not really a trend-led person. But sometimes I like to just try it on and see how I feel in them, and just see, maybe it could become like a new thing. Occasionally there'll be like trends that pass through that really suit me, but that don't stick. So like maybe it's a colour or a shape that really flatters my body, and then you don't really know until you try. So I like going into the shop sometimes just to try things on and see how I feel in them, and see if it's something that I want to invest in. But it would have to be like an immediate wow when I tried it on, like, oh my goodness, this is something I've been looking for my whole life. And that very rarely happens. Sometimes happens with maybe like a cut of a jacket or something, or I really like cropped things where it sits at my waist so it looks like my legs are longer than they are, or my body is less long maybe than it actually is. Anywho, my husband has taught me a couple of things about clothes and wardrobe, and one of them is to always try everything on and be like really particular and nitty gritty about it. So you might like the colour, but actually the fabric isn't really for you. Or when you try it on, the fabric feels kind of scratchy, but you really like the print and the crop. And as I said before, it needs to be totally perfect to add it to your wardrobe. For it to be something that you know you're going to wear all of the time, that it's going to always fit and feel beautiful, and be something that you will actually wear that goes with everything in your wardrobe. At this point in the podcast, I think we should make a promise to each other. I think we should repeat after me. Say, I will not settle for good enough. I will not settle for good enough. Good enough is not good enough. Like, you need perfection when you're adding things to your wardrobe. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Clothes and fashion, where do they go? What happens to your clothes when you decide in a year that you should have waited for the right thing? You should have ordered into the store a few different sizes to try on so it was actually the right fit. What happens to those clothes? After they go to the charity shop, what happens? Because I can promise you that not everybody buys all of the clothes in the charity shop. What happens to them when they're done at the charity shop? Where do they go? Now, a lot of things from what they call the global north, which is us, which includes the UK, which includes America, which includes most of Europe, where do the clothes go? They get shipped to places like Cantamanto Market in Ghana. And if you go on the internet, and I'll make sure there's some links linked below with some pictures, you can see photos and videos, lots of videos of the amount of clothing that ends up in these places. Now, they've made a business out of turning things into other things, of reusing and repurposing. But what if you were the only one responsible for the final life of that piece of clothing? I do want to say at this point, because I could get very preachy, and I suppose it probably already has become a bit preachy, and I apologize, but I am very passionate about this whole topic. But I think for a lot of people, we get those kind of like plastic donation bags in our letterboxes, and we fill them up when we've done with stuff, and we put them out, and that is it. It is the most convenient way to get rid of clothes. We think we're doing good for the planet somehow, and we think we're doing good for somebody because there'll be like a charity bag, although I don't know if they're actually charity bags. I think sometimes they're quite questionable where they're actually going and who's picking them up. But then it's not our problem anymore. It's someone else's problem. Now, there is a time and a place in life to actually use those bags. I still think that's probably better than putting them in the bin, like the regular bin. It's probably still going down a slightly different funnel, maybe, hopefully. And there is, like I said, there's a time and a place for those sort of things. But if you have capacity to and the time for, there's so many things that you can do with clothes at the end of their lives. Like, for instance, my son's trousers, once he gets a hole in them, I will patch them. If then the patch goes, I will repatch them, or I will just cut them off, turn them into cut-offs or shorts. And that cycle can last for a while. If my husband's jeans at the bottom have gone, I will simply just re-hem them up, and they'll be just like a centimetre shorter. That will be okay for a bit. The same with his shirts. If the shirt collar starts to go, I will flip the collar and I will sew that back on. If we get little holes in something, I will darn the little holes. I love learning how to darn good socks. That's been a passion of mine. I love putting patches on and embroidering things and learning how to do really cool visible mending techniques. I've even done a course on visible mending. There are so many ways to prolong the life of your clothes. Before then we decide we can't really use this as clothes anymore, and we can't refashion it again to make it wearable, but we can turn it into a quilt or a rag rug, and then save the buttons for another project or a craft project maybe. And then you can also, any really tiny scraps, you can or turn them into really tiny scraps. You can use that as stuffing to make cute little animals or pillowcases. There are so many ways of keeping fabric alive. And then last but not least, you can take any kind of fabric you're really never going to use, and you think, or if you think it's something someone else might use, you can take it to something like a scrap store or a charity shop where hopefully someone will use it. I feel like the scrap store gets used more than the charity shop for like crafty kind of things. Or give it to a crafty friend. I mean, that would be ultimate, wouldn't it? Like, hey, I've got some really lovely like fabric I'm not really going to use, but I'm wondering if you can use it. I'm always happy to be that person, guys. Although at the minute I've not got a very high turnover rate because I have no additional time because I have a baby. If mending is something you want to get into, I have a gorgeous book called Mending Life, a handbook for repairing clothes and hearts by Nina and Sonia Montenegro. It is a beautiful book. It's stunning and it's so useful. So useful. It teaches you about patching and darning and sashiko stitching and hemming and how to sew on a button. It has everything that's really basic, and it's got beautiful diagrams of how to do it, and I would really recommend that. So I'll leave that in the show notes. Even the cover itself has got like beautiful sashiko sort of stitching pattern on it. It's so yummy. Let's get back to talking about the 75 Hard Style Challenge. So I'm on day 30. I realize I need long jeans, buy new long jeans. That takes a good couple of weeks to do it properly. And then I'm kind of another couple of weeks in, and I realize another thing that's missing from the wardrobe. And that is like properly fitting, practical, waterproof jackets I actually like. Now, I have a variety of jackets. I think I've got about 3 or 4 waterproof jackets that all serve slightly different purposes, but on none of them do the sleeves actually fit my incredibly long arms. None of them fit properly. They're all a little bit too short for my arms, and there's quite a few of them are a bit tight along the back because I've changed sizes since being pregnant for a third time, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just like a little bit of a bigger size in my jackets, and also really want to fit more chunky jumpers underneath my jackets. That's something I don't really have a coat for. So I've sort of like write down on my list, on my heart, on my brain, that I'm kind of on the lookout for a jacket that will fit all requirements, with long enough sleeves, that will maybe fit a jumper underneath, that will kind of go with all my wardrobe, that's maybe made of natural fibers. And I'm starting to think maybe this is a unicorn kind of coat that does not exist. So I kind of have written it down in my head and in my mind, and I'm having a look on the internet for plastic-free waterproof coat options. I come across Tincloth, which is a gorgeous cotton-based wax cotton kind of thing, and realized that a high street brand, Sea Salt, make gorgeous Tincloth coats. So I think, okay, well, it would be quite cool if I happen to be near a Sea Salt. I'll pop in and see if I can find one and try one on, just see if I like the fabric itself. So again, a few more weeks go by, and this is now a couple of weeks ago. I went into a Sea Salt. They don't have any in there, but they do have some Tincloth options, and I can try some of the different sizes on. I realize like none of the sizes have long enough sleeves, but I realize online I can buy the like L version, the long version for tall, wonderful tall people, and they add 5 whole centimeters to the sleeves. So I order this amazing trench coat, which is the most gorgeous thing in this beautiful purple color with the extra long sleeves. It's got long length to it. It's got the belt. It's got a hood. It's like all of the dreams come true, and it's made of this beautiful Tincloth. And oh my goodness. So it exists, and I bought it, and I've added it to my wardrobe, and it's wonderful. And then I've also found a 100% wool like overcoat that's in a gorgeous watermelon color, to go over all of my jumpers on windy days and cold, freezing days for like school pickups and drop-offs, as an extra layer on top of all of the chunky wonderfulness that I need in winter. So I've sort of like rounded out my winter wardrobe with all of those really practical things that I realized I was needing. I do realize the word needing there is maybe a questionable word, because I didn't need the 2 new coats, and they were investment pieces, but I feel really good to have something in my wardrobe for next winter that is really practical, really beautiful, that I really love, that ticks all of the boxes in terms of fit and functionality, and they're in colours that I love. I didn't even think that would be a thing that I could find. So I think I lucked out on finding those things. I am now on day 75 of the 75 Hard Style Challenge, and thus today is the last day. I feel really, really good about it. Actually, taking photos has been really, really interesting. I haven't like made them for Instagram or anything. I would probably not want anyone else to see them, but I can see what I felt good in, what I looked good in, why it was that day I felt great. Realize that 90% of the time, the reason I like an outfit is because my hair looked good that day and I put makeup on. That is like a big lesson right there, which actually led me I think I realized that about 2 weeks in, that like it wasn't just the outfit, it was also the hair and the makeup and how I, those like final touches to the outfit. So then I made a kind of like knock-on effect, was that I made a resolution that I would just actually do the whole thing. Like I would do my hair and put makeup on finally, because I think postpartum, there's like a time that went past where I literally couldn't get off the sofa, and then I was just breastfeeding a lot, and it was just a bit hard to remember to wash my hair, put my makeup on, and look after myself properly. It affected my self-worth, my self-confidence, my productivity even, so much when I remembered that's something I needed to do again. Simply from looking at these photos of going, oh, actually, like the first 2 weeks, I did not love those photos. I did not love the outfits. And then when I started remembering to do my hair and my makeup and put a little scarf on and put a bag on and actually choose my shoes to match the outfit, well, sort of, I felt just so different, like so much better, and just my productivity shot through the roof. I was a much better, more present parent. I was ready for anything. If someone said, do you want to do X, Y, or Z? I could say yes, because I was ready for it. And that made a humongous difference. And whilst you could say I have kind of failed on this challenge, because I bought 3 new pairs of jeans and two new coats, and I did actually go into a charity shop once. I wasn't supposed to do that, but I did go in once because I had like a little moment where I was waiting for a friend, and there was a charity shop right there, and it sort of felt like wrong not to. And I bought this gorgeous Land's End 100% cotton turquoise zip up like jumper thing, and it's gorgeous. I love it. The sleeves are long enough and everything was right about it. The price point was amazing. It was like £5, I think, or $5.99. Anyway, despite that fail, it was an absolute win. It was such a win for me to just to see and start experimenting and really feeling out what would round out the wardrobe, what would make it function more. And so I feel really prepared for next winter. And I'm really desperate to do another 75 hard style challenge and like go into the spring and do it again. And then just, photograph more outfits and see what I feel good in. I don't feel like I've kind of finalized my style, I guess. Like I don't know what me is in winter, which I was hoping I would really discover a bit of a uniform for winter, I guess, which I didn't really get. But maybe with more time and practice, I will get there. The other thing that has completely revolutionized my wardrobe is cataloguing my whole wardrobe on Stylebook, which I mentioned earlier. I absolutely am obsessed with this app, with having all the data, with seeing it all. I save my look for each day. I did not think this was something that I would do. I did not think this was like a me thing. And it turns out that I love it. I love all the data. I like seeing how much my wardrobe is worth if I were to repurchase it all, which I think is quite a fun one, especially when I shop secondhand. So I can be like, oh, wow, that was worth a lot more money than I paid for it. I can see what colours I wear most, what items I wear most, so then where I can reinvest. So I know that I wore my walking boots loads over the winter because the school run was like super muddy. So if I invested in a pair of barefoot walking boots I really loved, then that would be a good investment because I wear them all the time. I have been an absolute crazy person for telling everybody about this app and how it's revolutionized my life. So bear with me. I'm going to tell you how many of each thing I have got. So I've got 57 tops in total, of which there are 6 t-shirts, 10 jumpers, 6 blouses, 1 overshirt, 4 sweatshirts, 10 cardigans, 7 gilets or vests, 10 long sleeves, 1 top, and 2 tanks. I'm guessing those last 2 categories are going to get a lot more in summer. Then 31 bottoms, of which are 7 pairs of jeans, 4 trousers, 13 skirts, 5 leggings, and 1 pair of tights, and 1 pair of dungarees. Then I have 11 dresses, 17 items that bow to wear, 6 of which are waterproof, 8 jackets and blazers, and 3 coats, 23 accessories, 2 belts, that is 5 hats, 1 watch, 2 pairs of earrings. I have a lot more earrings, but those are my sort of like favorite ones I wear all the time. I just kept my earrings from 20 years ago. I mean, hands up to all of those of us that have done that. 12 different scarves, that's quite a few, 1 umbrella, 9 bags, 9 pairs of shoes, of which 4 are boots, 1 is a sandal, and 4 are trainers. That includes my like athletic trainers that I might wear to a gym or something like that. And then I have 3 pairs of athleisure wear items, which are joggers. Then I have not uploaded my swim stuff, but I know I've got like just 2 things for swimming. And then I've got like a section for retired items on the phone. So things that I have sold on Vinted or given to friends if they wanted them, or got rid of in some other way, as mentioned earlier. And that I save on here simply so I don't accidentally repurchase, just because I think, oh, I love that, but then actually I didn't wear it for some reason or other. So I can check that category and check if I find something that I think, ooh, I just check through there as a reminder of things that I think might be nice, but I won't actually wear for some reason or other. So I think that's so interesting seeing those statistics. So my item count is 161. I'm guessing overall, once I add in the summer clothes and shoes, there'll probably be about 250, I reckon. I have a section at the minute that's also things I can't breastfeed in, of which there's a lot of really lovely things in there that might take that up to 300 maybe. But then my hope is with using the app, you can have a look and see things you've never worn, things you've only worn once, which makes me then want to go through it and work out, okay, why am I not wearing this? Do I just need to spend some time styling it in different ways, see how I could wear it? Is it something that's really not practical? Like, is it tight in an area that I don't want it to be tight in, or is the fabric not feel nice? Do I get too hot in it? Or am I maybe wearing it in the wrong season, or is it in slightly the wrong category in my wardrobe where it's hanging up? I haven't even mentioned like special occasion wear. I've got a sort of section at the back of my wardrobe that I'm probably not going to put on the app until like the point that I'm wearing it maybe, and have like a special section for it. I've got a few fancier dresses for like husband's work dues and stuff like that, or weddings, that I save for those occasions, and I just rewear them. And at this point, with not that many weddings and special occasions to go to, I feel like every time I'm going to wear one of those dresses, it's going to feel new, and I'm not going to need to buy anything new. I think I've probably got about 10 outfits in the back there. And then I've also got my wedding dress, which is hiding in the very, very back of my wardrobe. In preparation for this episode, I asked a bunch of questions over on my Instagram stories at the English Homemaker. Thank you to everybody that answered. I found it fascinating. It was so interesting to see your results and all the comments and questions and DMs that you sent me. I found so interesting. It was really lovely to see you guys be really engaged with this topic and be as interested as me. And I will make sure that all of the sort of results of those are saved to the highlights for this episode. So you can always go back and check and see how stylish people think they are, and how many times they go shopping, how much they spend on clothes, what season they like to shop in, whether they've made their own clothes. Things like that was really helpful for me to gauge where you're all at. I think the most interesting thing was seeing the answers of people that I knew really well and whether or not they were being honest with themselves. So, for example, my husband and my mother-in-law both put that they had 0 to 100 items in their wardrobe, and most people put that as their answer. But I know for sure, 100%, because I have audited both of their wardrobes, that they both have way over 100 things in their wardrobe, especially if we count shoes and jackets and bags. Like, for sure, there's more than 100 pieces in there. Now, I do not include like pants and socks and pajamas in the count, and it's questionable whether you want to add sports stuff to that as well. But yeah, I think so interesting that most of you think it's 0 to 100. I think most people will probably wear 0 to 100 things on a daily, regular basis, but probably have more stuff in there in their actual wardrobe. One of the questions I was happy to see answered as a mostly yes was, have you ever audited your wardrobe? And most of you said yes in one way or another, whether it's once a year, twice a year, 4 times a year. Most of you, do you audit your wardrobe? I love to audit my wardrobe. I've done a couple of YouTube videos of me auditing my wardrobe and my exact process. I think my first autumn audit video is the most watched and most loved, so I'll make sure that's linked below. But I am definitely partway through my spring audit. I really wanted to try and do it in a slightly different way. This time when I'm putting things back in the wardrobe, they are things I love And they're things I've asked lots of questions about, like, why is it that I love those clothes? Why is it I'm wearing them all the time? Is it because they're really comfortable? Is it because I love that colour? Is it because the cut sits in a particular way? What is it? I'm really asking a lot of questions so that I can make better decisions going forwards. And the same for the things I'm not really wearing. What is it about it? And sometimes I'm workshopping items I'm not really wearing. Maybe it's simply that I haven't had enough time to play with it. I don't have a lot of time in the morning to play with my outfits, to try new things, to try new combinations. So sometimes at the weekends or in sort of spare moments, it's really fun to do that, to try out new combinations and try things in different ways. It's exhausting. Trying on clothes and different outfits is really tiring, I find, but it can be really, really fun. I'd like to make it more fun. I often invite my mum round and she'll sit with me, or my daughter will come in and help me put on different outfits, and then it's more fun. And then there are some things when I'm doing the audit that are just a straight no, like a soul no. Like, that one is really, really worn. I should not be wearing that anymore. Or no, that really just doesn't sit with the life I'm leading right now. And that is something I'm really learning from a lady called Eleanor Cripps, who is based in New Zealand, who has a couple of resources I think you'll really enjoy. One is called The Wardrobe Reset, which is a free download. It's a guide for mums, especially for postpartum. And then there's a book that she's got called Intuitive Dressing, a gentle guide to curating a wardrobe that brings you joy. And they're both, she's a mum of, I think, 4 children. And obviously she's in New Zealand, so it's like a very chill place to get dressed anyway, and very trendy, like cool girl chic. And she's unashamedly good at wearing clothes that are comfortable, but also very stylish, and really enjoying and reveling in those finer accessories and how to do that in a way that feels very you. And I really love those resources. Another resource I have, if you're looking for something like a little bit more in depth and you're really like quite new to style, you really don't feel very stylish and you want to understand a bit more, there's a book called The Curated Closet by Anushka Rees. Was written about 10 years ago, but I still think it's relevant today because it's got quite like classic information, I would say, in it. It's got colours and shapes and just like lots and lots of information. It's definitely a bit more dense than the other resources I've given you. I think that one's really good. Its sort of tagline is discover your personal style and build your dream wardrobe. And that is also very helpful. If style is something you want to spend more time investigating, you could, as an idea, something I did 20 years ago and you could do today is go to Colour Me Beautiful and get a person to come to you, or you go to them, and work out what colours really suit you the best. That is something that can be really, really impactful. I can still remember all of my colours. I have a little like palette brochure thing that's in like this very cute little handy case that I can look at if I'm not sure, but I know it so well by now I don't really usually need to check. But sometimes I like to have a look at it just in case there's something I've forgotten about or a colour I'm missing that I think, oh, that would actually go really nicely. So that's a really good resource. I think Colour Me Beautiful do other things as well. I want to draw this episode to a close. I feel like I could do an entire other episode about how to look after your clothes properly, because genuinely line drying, not tumble drying, is not necessarily the answer. And I think especially in England, there's a lot of conversation about how to look after your clothes. I already spoke a little bit about mending your clothes and how to look after the long-term life of them. But there is a lot that I could say about what I use for washing and drying and how I do that. And I could probably go on for ages. A resource for you now for that, I love giving you resources, is Nancy Birtwistle. She has a fantastic array of books. I have one of them. And she has a significant online presence and is always telling me how to look after stuff, to the point where actually my white trainers that I have, I cleaned them so beautifully at the end of last autumn. So because I knew I wasn't going to wear them in the really cold months, that when I took them out again this time, I was like, oh, wow, they feel brand new. And I was like, thank you, Nancy. I had no idea what I did. Probably some kind of bicarb solution, maybe some green bleach in there. She loves green bleach. So just use her as a resource. She's absolutely fantastic resources for sustainable and environmentally friendly ways of looking after your things. I think ultimately at the end of the day, I want you to remember to get dressed. Enjoy getting dressed if it's something that you enjoy. Otherwise, just put clothes on. That's also totally okay. I want you to question the longevity of your clothes when you're choosing new ones and what's going to happen to it after it's gone. And yeah, if clothes are something that bring you joy, just enjoy it unashamedly. I think there's a lot of people out there saying that it's frivolous and it's silly, and it's totally okay to really enjoy the beauty of a piece of fabric that's made really well and a piece of clothing that's cut beautifully. That is a really lovely thing to enjoy. But if outfits don't bring you joy, find 10 beautiful pieces, have a 10 item wardrobe, make little outfits and repeat wear them and be super stylish that way. You don't need to be polar opposite extremes. You don't need to be a total minimalist to be right, and you don't need to be a total maximalist to be right. You can be both at the same time or somewhere in the middle, and I think all of us are somewhere different on that scale. And most of all, you should be wearing a wardrobe that feels right for the life that you lead right now. At the end of the day, I can face the day with more grace if I feel like the main character in my own story, not someone else's story. I'm not trying to replicate someone else's wardrobe, but mine. And currently I am a stay-at-home mum, homemaker who spends most of her time cooking food, cleaning the house, cleaning baby bottoms, breastfeeding, and my wardrobe should reflect the life I'm currently leading right now, and it needs to work for it. It needs to work for it. You are telling a story with the clothes that you wear, whether you like it or not. It's that whole thing in The Devil Wears Prada, isn't it? It's that, okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select that lumpy blue sweater, that whole speech, where it sort of goes, it's a very long speech about cerulean blue items and how ultimately you're still a part of something. You're still a part of the whole fashion industry, whether you like it or not. And you get to choose how people see you, whether you think you're making a statement or not. You're still making a statement. So make it a good statement. See what I mean? Whether it's you are wearing a black puffer, waterproof jacket, jeans and a sweatshirt, or you're wearing a cute little 50s dress with a little tailored wool jacket that you picked up in a vintage shop, or you've handmade a pair of Arthur pants and made this quilted vest top from naturally dyed fabrics that you pieced all together from thrifted scraps that you found in the scrap store. All of those are different stories and they're all okay, but just know you're telling a story. And so, yeah, make it a good one. So I hope that was helpful. I know at the beginning of this episode, I said this could probably be 3 hours long. And it probably could. I could probably keep talking about this for ages. But I hope I condensed it into a format that was helpful and not too preachy. I know I gave you a lot of quote unquote resources for further investigation down different avenues, if that was helpful. And maybe it's just interesting to open up the conversation. If you have any questions or suggestions or things you want to talk about, please DM me over on Instagram or send me an email. I'll make sure all the links are in the box below. Thank you so much for listening. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.